everybody. I'm going to spend about 10 minutes today talking about women in dating. And I want to especially thank Realme, who's made this possible and both supported us as we launched this initiative and also have committed to continuing this initiative, which has been so well received and of such importance in the space. And we would not be here without IDEA, Cortland Brooks, and GDI. They are certainly instrumental to the success of this initiative and have really helped us to scale and reach as many women as possible, both in the industry and actually outside of the industry. So today I'm going to talk about what we did last year and then what we're looking to do in this next year. So my name is Courtney Kovacevich. I'm the co-founder of Women in Dating, a founding member. I'm advising the initiative now. I actually recently left dating and I'm in NFTs. You're probably all recoiling in horror, but it's been an amazing space. I've been a lifelong art collector. And so now I work in NFTs and Web3. That's my PFP, as they call it in the NFT space. It's my avatar. It's actually the first female project ever in the NFT space. And they've really had an incredible 2 days. And today is actually Women in Crypto Day. So I'm certainly proud to be a part of that community. But for Women in Dating, I'll be advising the initiative. And the Cortland Brooks team has been great. They actually raised their hand and have offered additional support to us. So myself and Irina and Mark are really running everything on a day-to-day basis. I'm a passionate advocate for women. That's in part why I founded this and saw an opportunity. And certainly my goal is to forge a path for women, both in this industry and also as a recruitment tool, so we can have really great minds that are here to inform both the path of the industry and also product, representation, everything that goes into making sure that the industry is reflective of the consumer segment. So how it started, Women in Dating is an initiative that is built on the support of 14 council members and about 10 contributing members. When I was formerly at Realme, so I used to run Realme, I was part of the founding team at Realme. We would sponsor a lot of events through GDI and through IDEA. And when we spoke to GDI in the spring of last year, we wanted to bring forward female founders and talk to them about how their experience in dating was informing both how they ran their companies, the products that they developed, and then also their experience in raising capital. I think it is a pretty well-known statistic that I think female founders get about 2% of venture capital, and female founders of color get even less. So it was important to us to talk about the women that are really instrumental in growing the female representation in the industry. So we had the 4 women here chatting with us on a podcast and then a webinar. We had women from around the world reaching out to us saying, this is so important. Nobody is doing this. We need more of this content. And so in that spirit, the idea for Women in Dating was born. And the Realme team was so incredibly supportive in building this, our CEO and some of the senior leads there, because women are an important part of the customers that Realme protects. And so we started to build out Women in Dating. That happened in about June, I want to say. So we spent July and August really building out what would be our mission and our scope. So what did we want to do? Who did we want to reach? And what did we want to achieve? And so if we think about it in that way, really our mission is to empower women and trans women. Certainly we want to be inclusive. We are nothing if we are not thinking about everybody in the space. That would include allies as well. So, men that we're looking to and interested in supporting an initiative like Women in Dating. We were also looking to achieve equal representation. So we're not going to do that overnight. And certainly that's not something that's exclusive to dating. There's somewhat of a lack of female representation, especially in senior roles in all different industries around the world. But our goal, as we think about the impact that we can have, is look toward achieving a closer equal representation of women. We wanted to celebrate the diversity in the industry, and we wanted to do that through reaching women all around the world. And we truly have done that. There's not a week that goes by that I don't get a personal email from a woman who is in the industry, looking to be in the industry, looking to create a company that has truly found special meaningfulness and access to content through the platform that we've built with Women in Dating. And then our goal, of course, was to give rise to an industry movement. So making sure that the 14 council members and the 10 contributing members were working together to ensure that we were seeing the sort of the successes of our actions and our creation. Women in Dating is an initiative that sits within these like 24 different participants and their companies, but it also is a platform. So any woman has access to go to the platform and read our articles, our interviews, listen to our podcasts, and also watch our webinars. In addition to that, and I'll get into that in a second on content, we have been invited to multiple speaking engagements around the world. So certainly the brand itself has now been working toward influencing universities and other organizations that are supportive of women. So in our launch, we launched at the end of September. We launched at the GDI conference in London. We were so lucky as to have 3 of our council members discuss everything about the initiative, why we were doing it, who was involved, what our goals were, and each of their personal contributions and commitments to Women in Dating. I can say without exception, every single council member and contributor member has raised their hand to participate, support, and create on behalf of this organization. So a highlight in our launch, which really was just fourth quarter of last year, we've had 2 podcasts, 2 webinars, and about 10 different pieces of content. And a lot of this is our contributing members as well, coming to us with incredible interviews and articles about different things within the dating space through the perspective of women. The final article, which isn't listed here, was actually from this Belgian university that had reached out to us and asked us to speak at one of their engagements, a symposium about offline behaviors being affected or influenced by online dating apps. So we recently spoke there. I can't recommend enough going to Women in Dating and reading the summary article provided by Stella, who was the master's, the graduate student who had reached out to Women in Dating and asked us to speak. The SOS app, which is a contributing member, spoke on our behalf. We were also asked to speak at Oxford University. They have an organization that empowers and supports women and women going into business. So we were so lucky as to have Catherine and Kim join that event and speak on behalf of Women in Dating. And finally, if you haven't had the chance, I cannot recommend enough downloading the Women in Power book that was published at the end of last year. A lot of thought and time went into this. Kim and Sai, who are 2 of our council members, worked tirelessly with us to think about all of the incredible talent who are women in the space and really celebrate and give rise to those 20 women who have moved forward and advocated on behalf of women for their careers. And so that is available to download on the GDI website. So when we talk to our members, we meet and speak regularly. We collaborate on content. And certainly when I created this organization with my colleague, Jane, we knew that we would be better for the great minds that would be willing to contribute and help us build the mission around Women in Dating. And so we reached out to women and virtually everybody said yes immediately and was very active in what we wanted to accomplish and certainly contributed a lot to ultimately what the organization is now. And I think even now it will evolve based on what's happening socially, economically, and otherwise in the industry. there were really 3 areas that we had chatted with the members about focusing on. Those are leadership, so thought leadership and guidance, making sure that we were recognizing and promoting women who were doing great things, women who were forging a path, women who were influences of change. We also wanted the platform to be a place of education. So we wanted to democratize access to these great minds. How do women who are in the space, looking to join the space, looking to start a business, how can they learn from the experiences of our incredible council members and our contributor members? And so that's really the utility and the function of the platform, which is womenindating.com. And then also impact. So as I mentioned earlier, we are nothing if we haven't made an impact on the industry through this initiative. So looking now, reflecting back, and looking forward, making sure that we have left a positive impact on the community and the businesses within the industry. So a brief overview of who our council members are. This is also available on the website. This is our contributor members. We're so lucky to have all of these women. I think there's almost 24 women. And certainly there's even more women raising their hand. They're just, we haven't quite been able to onboard everybody. It is humbling to know how many lives we've positively affected through this initiative already. So if we think about this year, in the first half of this year, we're going to continue to write articles, conduct interviews, schedule podcasts, and through those actually curate and create webinars. Any advice, any feedback, any topics that anyone has, you can ping me, Courtney at womenindating.com or hello@womenindating.com. So we welcome that. I'm speaking with one of our contributor members about an interview series where we will interview each of the council members. So we're working toward that. We're launching social media, and I believe SMORE is going to be a strategic partner in our managing and monitoring and executing that. And then we're also looking to onboard additional contributors. Sorry, this is my cat. So we have so many women around the world reaching out that want to be part of this, and it's just more a limit of bandwidth. So we'll be excited to announce new contributors during this year. Finally, 2 key dates that we're looking at is Women's Day, which is March, and then also Women's Equality Day, which is in August. Finally, in second half of this year, 2 things to mention are the Mentor Shop launch. So we're actually rethinking mentoring a little bit to make it more scalable. So we'll be launching something called Mentor Shop, which is mentoring within a workshop. So women can sign up for a workshop and then they can receive the mentoring from the mentor, who generally probably in this initial phase will be a contributor or a council member. And then we're also looking to do a global women's safety study. There's different ways in which we're considering how to measure safety and the impact of safety. One of these initial ways that we're looking to measure is with our strategic partner, You're Safe. So they have been amazing in chatting with us about instances of domestic violence, instances of violence against women all over the world. I'm not sure there's another app that has as much data on this as You're Safe. So we're looking to do an initial study with them as well. Here are some areas of interest. Certainly this is not an exhaustive list, but again, you'll probably see content from any of these different areas. And if you happen to be an app that is measuring this, looking at any of these areas, or has any kind of study or other content coming out, please let us know. Another function that we've been able to do with Women in Dating is act as a amplification of content that you might already be creating. So, ping me and I'm happy to chat about how we can help give you some scale. I wanted to include this quote because Karima has been, without exception, one of our most participatory, thoughtful, and vocal partners. And I am grateful every day that I get to work with women and executives like Karima. And so when we asked Karima to be part of this, she immediately wrote this back to us. And I look at this and I really understand the effect that this organization has in shining a light on great talent, but also giving aspirational support and guidance to women who are looking to be in senior roles, start their own company, and have positive effect on the industry, whether that's through product or safety or marketing. We are all working toward an industry that has a greater consideration of women, both as employees and also as customers. So I'll end on this quick note about Realme. Again, we wouldn't exist without the support of Realme, and they're so kind as to have come forward and pledged their continued support for this year. So if you're looking to, consider greater safety features and mechanisms for providing safety to your users, I highly recommend connecting with me all. But if you're looking also to just chat about women in dating, talk to me about how we can collaborate on whatever that might be, membership, content, amplification, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email is Courtney@womenindating. There's also an email for hello@womenindating. Both will come to me. And the URL is womenindating.com. And I think that's it. So do you want me to take questions?
There were any. One question, which I think is absolutely key to, what the organization stands for and is trying to do over the longer term, and that's encourage more women into the dating industry. I never forget one of my first experiences at iDate many years ago. I was a little taken aback at the skew. It seemed like we had a skew a little overrepresented with guys in the room. And actually, interestingly, going to the Matchmakers Conference a few years later, the first Matchmakers Conference, was the opposite. I mean, it's not like women aren't interested in this industry, but something is up, and something I think needs to be fixed to make it a more encouraging environment. So my key question to you is, what do you think the dating industry can do to encourage more women to join the industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question.
And for us, really all of us in the audience as well. Please put your comments in as well.
In my mind, making sure that, well, do you, as employees, really thinking about equal recruiting and consideration for key roles? It's not a surprise that historically women have not had as much representation in fields of STEM-related careers. And we're so lucky to have Sai as part of Women in Dating as a chief product officer, who has been with Matrimony for more than 20 years, I believe. So I think considering women in senior roles, making sure that if there's decisions being made on any aspect of the company, but maybe even starting on products and features, that women have a seat at that, virtual table now with COVID, but women are there to give their feedback, and also making sure that we're celebrating women, celebrating diversity, and sort of publicly talking about our pledge to support and recruit women. As consumers, I mean, certainly that's something probably that the apps know better from their user perspective, but the more they think that we can be thoughtful about what women are looking for in relationships and dating, we can hope that forms some thought around products and features that we create, but also how we market them is hugely important as well. So.